Hello students, we are going to understand the nucleic acid in these lectures. Okay, that is also I have taken that is this material from the NCRT book student, that is NCRT book from the biomolecule class 12. Okay, chemistry. So dear student, what is nucleic acid student? Okay, so nucleic acid that present in the nucleus simple. So every generation of each and every species resembles to its ancestors. Okay, so every species are resemble to its ancestors in many ways. Okay, how are these characteristics transmitted from one generation to the next? Okay, how they are transmitting from one generation to next? It has been observed that as nucleus of living cell is responsible for the transmission of inherent characters, also called that is hereditary. Okay, so they are saying that is character are getting transmitted from one generation to another generation. The reason is what this is what is the known as what the hereditary. The particles in a nucleus of the cell responsible for the heredity are called the chromosomes, which are the made up of the proteins, and the another type of biomolecules are called the nucleic acid. Okay, so whatever the factors and material responsible for the transmission of the characters from one generation to another generation is known as nucleic acid. These are mainly of two types. First one is the deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA, and another is ribonucleic acid, that is RNA. Since nucleic acids are long chain polymers of nucleotide, so they are also called the polynucleosides. So they are also called as polynucleoside. Okay student, so let me have the readout once more student, because you may be facing the problem. They are saying how are these character transmitted from the one generation to a next generation. It has been observed that is nucleus of living cell is responsible for the transmission of the inherited character, also called the heredity. So nucleus is transmitting. Another things you see student, the particles in the nucleus in the cell responsible for the heredity, whatever the particles are present in the nucleus, these are called chromosomes, which are made up of the proteins and another type of biomolecule called the nucleic acid. Okay, so nucleic acid or the protein is responsible for the transmission of the inherited character from one generation to another generation. These are mainly of two types, the deoxyribonucleic acid DNA and ribonucleic acid RNA. Since the nucleic acid are long chain polymers of nucleotides, so they are also called the polynucleotide. So nucleic acid is long term polymers of nucleotide, so they are also called the polynucleotides student. Let us see the what is the history behind this inherited character. This is James Dewey Watson. Okay, born in Chicago, Illinois in the 1928. Okay, Dr. Watson received his PhD in 1950 from Indiana University or in zoology. He is the best known for his discovery of the time of structure of DNA, for which he shared with the Francis Crick and Maurice, Wilkins, the 1962 Nobel Prize in the psychology and medicine. They proposed the DNA molecule takes the shape of the double helix and elegantly simple structure that resembles a gently twisted ladder. The rail of the ladders are made up of the alternating unit of phosphate and the sugar deoxyribose. The rungs are each composed of a pair of the purine and pyrimidine bases. This research laid the foundation for the emerging field in molecular biology. The complementary pairing of the nucleotide base explain how identical copies of the parental DNA pass on the two daughter cell. This research launches a revolution in the biology that led to the modern recombinant DNA technique. Okay, Now see student, that was the history behind the replication, or you can say the double helix model of the DNA. Now what is chemical composition? We are going to understand the chemical composition. The complete hydrolysis of DNA RNA yield a peptide sugar, phosphoric acid, and nitrogen containing heterocyclic compound called the bases. In DNA molecule, the sugar moiety is beta D2 deoxyribose, whereas in RNA molecule it is beta D ribose. Okay, student. So let us read out again, student, how the chemical composition is there for the DNA. Okay, or in nucleic acid. They are saying in the nucleic acid, student, complete hydrolysis of DNA or RNA, okay, deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid yield a pentose sugar. It's give pentose sugar, phosphoric acid, and nitrogen containing heterocyclic compound called bases. In DNA molecule, the sugar moiety is beta D2 deoxyribose, whereas in RNA molecule, it is beta D ribose. So it is beta D ribose is here, and that is beta D2 deoxyribose is here. Okay. So let me have the look over the structures, student, of the bases which are there in the DNA and RNA. So DNA contain four bases, that is adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. So four bases are there, like adenine is there, guanine is there, cytosine is there, and thymine. While they are saying RNA also contain four bases, the first three bases, that is adenine, guanine, cytosines, are same as DNA, but fourth one is the uracil. So here is the uracil is given. Structure is not that much important, student. That is structure of nucleic acid. So they are saying in the structure of unit 8, a unit formed by the attachment, a unit formed by attachment of base to one dash position, that is first position of sugar, is known as nucleoside. In nucleoside, the sugar carbons are numbered as 1 2 3, 1 dash 2 dash 3 dash, etc. In order to distinguish these from the bases, figure 14.5, this is the figure. What they are saying, when the nucleoside is linked to phosphoric acid at fifth position of sugar moiety, we get a nucleotide. 14.5. So this is nucleoside is there, and this one is nucleotide. So this is the base and base, and now this is the phosphoric acid, and here is there this group CH2OH group is there. So what they are saying here is, if it is the phosphoric acid is attached, student, phosphate group, so it will be the nucleotide, and only sugar is there, this is the nucleoside, here is no sugar, student. So nucleotides are joined together with phosphodiester linkage between the 5 3 carbon atoms of the pentose sugar. The formation of the typical dinucleotide are shown in figure. Next figure, they have seen how they are forming, student. Here is there two sugars, two nucleotide, they are the nucleotide. No, up now they are attacking with the phosphodiester bond and forming the dinucleotide, student. So see, if we talk about, so in the dinucleotide tide, this bond, this group is getting attached with this, and they are forming the dinucleotide. Okay, next point, what they are saying, double, a simple version of the nucleic acid chain is shown below. These are their, student, chain with guanine cytosine triple bond, adenine thymine double bond. So they are saying sugar base plus phosphate. Okay, sugar base phosphate, that is nucleus dinucleotide is there. So information regarding the sequence of nucleotide in the chain of a nucleic acid is called the primary structure. Nucleic acid have the secondary structure also. Okay, James Watson and Crick gave the double strand helix structure for DNA. Okay, two nucleic acid chains are wound about each other and held together by hydrogen bond between the pair of bases. The two strands are complementary to each other because the hydrogen bonds are formed between the specific pair of bases. Adenine forms a hydrogen bond with the thiamine, whereas cytosine forms the hydrogen bond with the guanine. In a secondary structure of RNA, helix are present which are only single strand. Sometimes they fold back on themselves to form a double helix structure. RNA molecules are of three types and they perform different functions. They are named as messenger RNA, that is mRNA, ribosomal RNA, that is RNA, and transfer RNA, that is tRNA. So this is all about the nucleic acid, student. I hope it will be helpful to you. Okay, so what you have to do is, student, that is nucleic acid is that much of not tough. You have to keep in mind that is you read out the multiple time, so you will be able to understand what is the nucleic acid. And once you understand that is nucleic acid is the acids no component present in the nucleus, which is responsible for the transmission of character from the one generation to another generation. Nucleic acid generally comprises of two material, student, that is DNA and RNA, deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. Okay, when these acids are attached with the phosphate group, so they are known as nucleotide. Okay, when two nucleotides are joined together by phosphodiester bond, they will form the, student, what they will form, they will form dinucleotide. Okay, already we explained that is double strand DNA model, that is the helical model is there. Watson and Crick proposed that model. In that model there are bases are there, student, cytosine and guanine will form, that is triple hydrogen bond between them, and adenine thiamine will form the double hydrogen bond between them, and that they will form the helix. When you talk about RNA, student, RNA is a single helical model, student. They have the single helix structure. And when you talk about the single helix structure, student, in the that RNA, sometimes it's get folded also, but the bond will be as it is, a student, that is cytosine guanine will be forming, that is triple bond, a triple hydrogen bond, and that is uracil and thiamine, it will form the double bond. So this is all about the nucleic acid, student. Thank you so much for watching, friends.